Welcome back, everybody, to the David Pakman Show. Former Republican Congressman Will Hurd is joining the ranks of Republicans jumping into this 2024 presidential primary. It is getting very, very full. Will Hurd, like I said, was a congressman, and he also worked in the CIA, and he's kind of known as a more moderate Republican, and he is more moderate. He's criticized Trump. It's another example, though, of someone who I don't really understand how he fits into the picture, how he would win a Republican primary with how MAGA the GOP is right now. But here's this from CNN. Former Texas Representative Will Hurd launches 2024 bid for GOP presidential nomination. Former Texas Representative Will Hurd on Thursday launched a bid for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination, joining a crowded field looking to challenge frontrunner former President Donald Trump. We'll look at him talking about why he announced in just a moment, but continuing, Hurd has been outspoken in his criticism of Trump following the former president's indictment on federal charges over his alleged mishandling of classified documents. Trump has pleaded not guilty to all charges. And then, interestingly, it lists everyone in the race right now, in case you've forgotten. You have DeSantis, you have Mike Pence, you have Tim Scott, you have Nikki Haley, you have Asa Hutchinson, Chris Christie, Doug Burgum, Vivek Ramaswamy, Francis Suarez, and Larry Elder, and now Will Hurd. So with that being said, here's this from CBS Mornings where he's making this announcement.
I want to let everybody know that this morning I filed to be the Republican nominee for President of the United States. This is a decision that my wife and I decided to do because we live in complicated times and we need common sense. There are a number of generational defining challenges that we're faced with in the United States of America. Everything from the Chinese government trying to surpass us as the global superpower, the fact that inflation is persistent at a time when technologies like artificial intelligence is going to upend every single industry, and our kids, their scores in math, science, and reading are the lowest they've ever been in this century. These are the issues we should be talking about. And to be frank, I'm pissed that we're not talking about these things. I'm pissed that our elected officials are telling us to hate our neighbors, right? Our neighbors are not our enemies. They're our fellow Americans who we just happen to have a disagreement with. These are the issues that we should be talking about. And I believe the Republican Party can be the party that talks about the future, not the past. We should be putting out a vision of how do we have unprecedented peace? How do we have a thriving economy? How do we make sure our kids have a world-class education regardless of their...
We'll stop it there. But, it's interesting. I have a former Republican friend who, still a friend, former Republican, to be clear, and he's constantly emailing me different people he thinks could be a good presidential option. And he's like, obviously, I know you differ with this person because I'm not a Republican, and any conservative I'm going to disagree with severely, but would send me more respectable options. Do you think they would have a chance? Would they have a chance? Would they have a chance in this Republican primary? And I've had to explain multiple times. Unfortunately, even though there are a lot of people that I disagree with a lot, but wish would be more prominent within the GOP so that we could have a more healthy, vibrant political discussion. Unfortunately, this current GOP base, at least, there are moderate Republicans that still exist, but the base that's the engine that drives the agenda is so extreme, it's so MAGA, that the only person who really had a shot of defeating Trump was someone like DeSantis, who was trying to be a little Trump 2.0 and failing miserably, apparently. And it is, yes, terrifying. It's so unfortunate, but that's the reality. And so all these people who are jumping in, someone like Chris Christie that we talked about earlier, or Will Hurd, who would be far better than Trump, they're not going to have a shot because of that fact, because they are more reasonable than Trump. And that's just not what's selling right now within the MAGA Republican Party base.